Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Paddle and Plan Canada. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about beautiful BC urbanism and my trip to Victoria. So this summer I went to Victoria. I stayed in Saanich, which is a suburb outside of Victoria. Exploring different parts of the region, I found a mix of impressive urban design, missed opportunities, and some of the best active transportation infrastructure in the country. First of all, let's talk about Uptown. I've mentioned Uptown a few times on my channel, but I had to visit in person. But to a suburbanite like myself, it seemed people first. Quick stop stores, a splash pad, and a linear park-style plaza. But under the ground and behind some of the fancy buildings is a monstrosity of never-ending parking. And based on some research that my grandfather did, under the 2009 zoning, Uptown should have been required to provide around 4,300 parking spaces, based on its 680,000 square feet of shopping, 169,000 square feet, and 10,764 square feet of office space. For shopping centers over 250,000 square feet, the rule was one parking spot per 182 square feet of retail, but the municipality approved just 2,800 spaces, 35% less than normal. This saved the developer, Morguard, around $27 million in 2009 dollars. That's based on a conservative estimate of around $18,000 per parking space. What did the municipality get for giving the developer less parking? Well, supposedly, the developer was supposed to build a transit hub. In reality, the public got 2 bus shelters and a single small bus lane. Another condition for the shopping center's construction was that Morguard, the developer, had to build a residential tower on the site. But here we are, no tower. Saanich, the municipality in which it's in, didn't enforce it for years, only recently approving the plans in summer of 2024. And today, 1 year later, there's still no tower. Now, I'm not campaigning for them to have more parking, but I'm just pointing out that the city gave them that leeway of not making them have extra parking, and the developer saved that $27 million and just gave them a terrible 2 bus shelters and a basically not even an existent bus lane. Next, I'm going to talk about University Heights. I talked about this also in one of my previous videos. So, University Heights has built housing into the project right from the start. Instead of being just a shopping destination, it's already a mixed-use development. The parking is mostly underground as well, which makes the site feel less dominated by cars. It's not perfect yet, but compared to Uptown, it shows much better balance between residential, commercial, and public space. So now, for my favorite part of the trip, I went to downtown Victoria. For a city of under 500,000 people, its downtown is surprisingly vibrant. Part of it is Victoria's location along a major cruise ship corridor. Tourists are constantly being dropped in directly into downtown by ferries, cruise ships, harbor air seaplanes, and tour buses. Government Street, a pedestrian-only corridor, and Bastion Square, both pedestrianized, also add to that feel of walkability. Another key factor is how walkable and bike-friendly the downtown is. Victoria has invested heavily in protected bike lanes, like those on Fort Street, and its downtown grid make walking easy. You don't get that feeling of being pushed aside by cars like you do in many Canadian downtowns. Victoria's downtown is also human-scaled, most buildings topping out at around mid-rise height. Combined with heritage buildings, a lively inner harbor, and a beautiful waterfront, the result is a downtown that feels alive, unique, and distinct. Another part of Victoria that I researched was its regional government. Victoria hasn't been merged into a megacity,
The megacity.
or a megacity, like Ottawa has. Places like Saanich, Esquimalt, and Victoria remain their own municipalities, which allows for more localized planning and community identities. Meanwhile, Ottawa swallowed Canada, Nepean, Orleans, and others, making it the largest city by land area in the country. Next up, I have to talk about active transportation in Victoria. The city has invested millions over the past 8 years to create a comprehensive cycling system. You've got the Galloping Goose Trail and the Lochside Trail, both converted rail corridors that go from the suburbs straight to downtown. Then we have the E&N Trail, or the Esquimalt and Nanaimo Trail, also adding another major corridor through the region. The number of pedestrian and cycling bridges really surprised me. Instead of forcing you to walk over or beside fast-moving traffic, you get a safe, grade-separated crossing. In 2024, Victoria opened its longest continuous protected bike lane, 2.7 kilometers along Fort Street. When combined with earlier downtown segments, the route stretches almost 4 kilometers and connects key neighborhoods to major employment hubs around the area. And here's the big stat: 95% of residents in Victoria live within 500 meters of a cycling route. These lanes use bollards, barriers, to make people safe riding. According to 2021 Statistics Canada data, 5.3% of Victoria's residents bike to work, the highest rate in Canada. In the broader Capital Regional District, bikes make up 13% of all trips in 2022, up from just 9% in 2017. That's a big jump just for 5 years. During my trip, I also visited Vancouver. So from Victoria, I took the ferry over to Vancouver. Getting into the city was smooth. BC ferries to a packed TransLink bus from Tsawwassen Terminal to Bridgeport Station, and then onto the Canada Line SkyTrain into downtown. The system worked perfectly, but we were packed in elbow to elbow, and it was really a relief to finally step off the train for some fresh air. Downtown Vancouver itself is striking. Most of the towers are glass with unique designs, so it avoids that gray concrete jungle feel you get in other cities. At Waterfront Station, Canada Place dominates as a massive cruise ship port. Meanwhile, harbor airplanes taking off and landing almost every 2 minutes was a cool sight to see. Walking along the seawall near the convention center and Canada Place was a highlight. The path offered incredible views of North Vancouver across the water and created a cool, pleasant, and pedestrian experience for me. After this, I headed over to North Vancouver. I only had a short visit downtown because I needed to catch the ferry back to Victoria, but I made sure to hop on the sea bus over to North Vancouver. The ride itself was fun, with amazing views of the skyline and port. Once you arrive, you step directly onto Lonsdale Quay Exchange, a connection to the bus network. Right next to it is the Quay Market and the Shipyards District. The area is pedestrian-friendly and beautifully designed. I loved the public plaza space, the shops, the splash pad, and a community gathering spot, a true third place. The first impression makes North Van seem dense and vibrant, though after a block or two, it transitions quickly back into suburbia. After that, I headed back over to the ferry, and BC Ferries did a great job. I love the ferry because it's an experience I don't usually get to have here in Ontario and in Ottawa. So that was really cool. Anyway, there you have it. My trip to British Columbia from Victoria to Vancouver. From bike lanes to waterfronts, beautiful British Columbia blends bold urbanism with a beautiful landscape. It was a truly awesome trip, and I hope I get to do it again. Thank you for listening to this episode of Pedal and Plan Canada. Catch us next week.